Hey, this is Peter Dankelson from Pete's Diary, and Guns N' Roses has been streaming through my hearing aid this week. So Guns N' Roses are one of my all-time favorite bands. When I first picked up the guitar, AC/DC was my main obsession, and still is. But I was listening to a bunch of other bands, but no one had quite hit or clicked as much as AC/DC, so far at that point. And then I heard Guns N' Roses. I think I heard like "Sweet Child of Mine" on the radio, and I'm like, that's an amazing guitar solo. I was really drawn into the guitar playing aspect of it. And then I would throw it on at school as I was walking around, and I'm like, hey, this is really good. And then just kind of more so like self-discovery, I found like "Welcome to the Jungle," and then I found like "Night Train" and some other kind of tunes. But the big one for me was Paradise City. As soon as I heard Paradise City, I'm like, this is sounding great. This is sounding great. And then when I heard the outro solo, where everything just, goes crazy and, Slash's, outro solo, I was hooked for life. I'm like, this is amazing. And I'm like, all of it was off the same album. And I'm like, what is this? It's like Appetite for Destruction. I'm like, I need to listen to this thing. And on like first listen, it was one of my favorite albums of all time. And it still is. Every track, means something to me and is, very special and always kind of holds some, pretty good memory of, early guitar playing. And it's just a great album in general. So yeah, and then, finding the Use Your Illusion stuff as well, I was blown away. Yeah, no, I instantly became a big fan, was hooked immediately. There are so many Guns N' Roses riffs that I could just geek out over all day, but I guess the three that I'll talk about today, It's So Easy and Anything Goes from Appetite for Destruction, and then Locomotive from Use Your Illusion 2. So probably the coolest thing about becoming a Guns N' Roses fan in 2017 was this was not long after the big reunion with Slash, Stuff, and Axl. It's kind of maybe a little bit of a shame that I didn't have that, moment of seeing the news that, they had reunited and how big of a deal that was. But regardless, I became a fan right when the reunion happened, and that was very exciting. And they happened to be coming to Chicago not long after my birthday, so it was the United Center in the fall of 2017. It wasn't too long after my birthday, and I was surprised with tickets. And me and my dad went, and it was amazing because at that point, like I mentioned earlier, GNR was like the second big obsession right after AC/DC. And I hadn't seen AC/DC live, so I'm like, I'm about to see one of my favorite, guitar players and songs that I was blown away by, see one of my favorite bands for the first time. And so, I just remember sitting there with Dad, and, you could hear the sound check, or not sound check, but, like right before they hit the stage, they're testing the instruments, and, the rafters are shaking. It's like, oh my, what's about to happen? The intro video plays, and all of a sudden you hear the intro to It's So Easy. And it's like that. And then they hit the stage and, went on with the rest of the show. And so that one will always hold a special place in my heart because that was the first Guns N' Roses song I heard live. And even, when I was jamming the song, it was just so cool because, the big power chord riffs and, kind of that little riff breakdown before the solo, why don't you just, and then actually, I don't know if I can say it on here, but if you know the song, you know what he said. Just the solo, the riffs, it completely blew me away. And again, it was the first Guns N' Roses song I heard live. So, yeah, it's always one that I'll get a big kick out of. So the next song I want to talk to you guys about is probably the most underrated, or at least probably the biggest deep cut on Appetite for Destruction, and that's the song "Anything Goes." Um, it's funny because I don't think the song really struck me as much when I heard it the first time, but later on when I heard it again, I'm like, this song is awesome. Just it's funny. I'm not like a huge like metalhead, but it's almost like a Rain and Blood by Slayer. Just kind of played maybe a little bit more rock and roll. I don't know if that was before that song or not, but it's just kind of funny hearing the similarity of the riffs. But it's just a really fun, kind of funky tune. Um, and it was cool too because watching the kind of seeing the set list unfold on the 2023 tour, Guns N' Roses brought that song back for the first time since like, you know, the late 80s, and I think probably for a lot of fans it was thought of, okay, yeah, that song is kind of forgotten about or done. So it was pretty exciting to see that they decided to bring that one back and throw it in the set list. And when I saw them at the Power Trip Festival, they played it, and I'm like, this is awesome. Who would have thought that they would have dusted this one off? So that was a cool surprise. I'm glad that they brought that one back. You wouldn't have expected it. And it's just a really fun song, with the kind of the talk box stuff. I'm pretty sure, don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of Slash and Izzy kind of doing, or I don't know if Slash is doing, the talk box part, and Izzy's just kind of jamming the non-talk box part. I'm pretty sure it's Slash, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But no, it's a really fun tune. Kind of, I guess, rediscovered it thanks to it being that song being brought back. So yeah, no, it's a fun one. The last riff that I want to share with you guys is a song from Use Your Illusion 2 called Locomotive. The song is an absolute monster, kind of like, some of the Use Your Illusion songs. They're pretty long. It's one of the more epic kind of tunes. And the arrangement's pretty interesting as well. Or at least, or I don't know if interesting, but it's pretty cool. There's kind of lots of riffs kind of going around. It's a really cool tune. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that kind of hit me about the song was, that riff. I don't know if it's like a wah pedal. I don't quite have the sound of that record, but it's kind of this interesting. To me, it sounds like a open wah. I don't know if that's what Slash is doing or if it's something with his setup that sounds that way. But that's what it reminds me of, at least. But yeah, the song just has this really cool like rotating riff. There's kind of the call and response with the vocals, that kind of riff. The solos are awesome, and then there's that whole kind of like, I don't know if atmospheric is the right word, but there's kind of that whole like outro section as well. It's kind of cool with the kind of the wah and the kind of, I don't know if it's like muted scrapes and all that, but it's a really cool tune. It's a locomotive of a song. But yeah, and then there's like the whole like sliding riffs and all that, and it was cool. It looked like they were playing that quite a bit. It's in the set sometimes and gets thrown around. So it's cool that that one got brought back because it's a really neat song. But yeah, that rotating riff is a lot of fun to play. So that's just a look at 3 of my favorite Guns N' Roses riffs. There's so many that I could pick from. In all honesty, literally everything off of Appetite for Destruction is a favorite. So like My Michelle, Rocket Queen, of course, Welcome to the Jungle and Sweet Child of Mine. Literally the whole record, every single song is a recommendation. From the Use Your Illusion records, I really get a big kick out of Bad Obsession. Is like this really like cool like slide, tune, which again was brought back in 2023. So I saw that at Power Trip, and that was awesome. That was a really cool tune to hear live. Let's see, Don't Damn Me, which Slash actually brought back, and I think it was the live debut of that song as well. He brought that back for his solo tour, his solo band with Miles and the Conspirators. So that was really cool to see, especially since if you've heard the song before, it's got a lot of words. So props to Todd Kearns for pulling that one off. I'm not really a singer, but that seems like a pretty big challenge, or at least karaoke in the car. That one's always gives you trouble. But no, I mean, the list just goes on and on, like Pretty Tied Up, Reckless Life, Shadow of Your Love. Just so many great songs. Estranged, I think, is probably one of their best songs. It's a really a lot of magic in that song. Really, really beautiful guitar work. I mean, the list goes on and on. Even I know people kind of are about Chinese Democracy, but a song like This I Love off of that record, I thought was really well done. It's like one of those kind of Axl ballads, which is just really, really cool. So I mean, it's incredible. The band's amazing. Hope they come back on the road soon. We'll see, but no, it's incredible. It's been fun, being a fan and kind of watching what they've been up to since their reunion, and I'm looking forward to what's next for them. I hope they come back to Chicago soon. So that pretty much wraps up everything here. Like I said, the list goes on and on with so many great Guns N' Roses songs. But, until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, be kind and keep on rocking.